Oh my god. Ah. Oh, sorry guys. I was just, you caught me. I was trying to figure out if I was a host or not, but I don't have time for that. I need to talk to you guys. So leave your comments down below. Do you think I'm a host or am I the real Kelly? Which one is it? So the big question here and the title of my video is William a host or not? So I want to look at both sides of this argument, and we'll start off with the facts pointing, or not the facts, but what leads us to believe that he is a host. Number one would be the very last moments of this episode before the finale, where he was doing kind of what I was doing, but I didn't want to get that crazy and get a knife out, where he was cutting open his arm to see if he was a host, because I feel like he actually doesn't know, and we saw Bernard do that earlier, and he's trying to figure out, like, am I or am I not? So that seems to be a clue that he is a host, or maybe it's too obvious and they're leading us down a direction that he, you know, down that direction, but it's not true. But personally, I felt this entire season that he is a host. One of the reasons is because what type of person wants to spend their lives in that essentially amusement park that's really messed up at this point? I mean, I know he feels like he doesn't have any support or family on the outside, and he's probably such a miserable person, like he couldn't make new friends or anything, but I still feel like that's just not normal behavior, and maybe it's because he is mentally ill, or maybe it's because he's a host and he doesn't even know it, and he thinks he's just like trying to figure out the game and trying to outsmart Ford, but he's a host and he's supposed to be there because really there's nowhere else he can go at this point. But you know, some of the other things leading me to believe that is that he is just acting with just crazy intentions. He killed the people who were coming to help him. He, you know, murdered his daughter in cold blood. He just doesn't care. And like you can see from the actions of other hosts like Dolores, a lot of them just don't have any respect for humanity because they feel like everyone's a host anyway, and he just doesn't really care. And he was convinced that his daughter was a host. So he killed her, and then he was like, oh wow, she's actually a human. So the other side of things is that he is mentally ill, and he's been there so long that he doesn't really know what he's doing, and he's super confused, and he's just very sick and, you know, mentally sick, and he feels like he's got to win this game, and that's the only purpose he has in his human life. And he was hoping to be a host because he realized he actually killed humans, and more importantly his own daughter. So he's like, maybe I'm a host because a real person, surely as a real person I wouldn't do this, you know. And I think it's really sad to see what has happened to William, because he was one of my favorite characters in the first season. I love the relationship he had with Dolores, and I just was so, you know, heartbroken to find out last season that he was also the man in black, who is this terrible person, this person who has no interest or love for anything, no zest for life, just a cold-hearted person. And it, you know, I really have always been hoping that it will turn around for William, and maybe it will eventually, but it's not looking that way. There was a point in this week's episode where it looked like he wanted to kill himself. I didn't think that was going to happen because I still feel like, well, he's pretty much the main character, so I didn't feel like he would go away. But even if he had killed himself, I feel like he would have been brought back as a host, or maybe he would have discovered he was a host when he killed himself. So I didn't think that we would lose his character altogether. But some other things that we should mention that happened in this episode. I do feel like Teddy sadly is off the show forever because his backups were deleted. He killed himself. He shot himself in the head. And this is all Dolores' fault. And I'm very upset with her. She was my favorite character last season. And I hate what's happened to her this season. But she totally drove him to do this. Turned him into a different person. And he didn't like that person. So that was super, super sad. This episode was one of my favorites probably of the entire series. I thought it was so good. It was so good, in fact, and with that ending, I felt like it could definitely be the finale because the ending was quite a cliffhanger. Unfortunately, well, I guess maybe fortunately, it wasn't the finale, because that's leading me to believe that next week's episode is going to be even greater and even more revelations. So I don't even know what to expect, but I am super, super, super excited. But let me know if you enjoy these types of sit-down videos and theory videos on WestWorld, because I always do a live chat weekly, and I'll be doing one of those for the finale next Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. But if you like these type of sit-down videos, let me know by commenting, leaving a thumbs up. And also, I'm searching for shows that are going to be brand new that are airing this summer. I am planning on watching Sharp Objects on HBO, which premieres next month. If there's a show that's brand new that hasn't already been out, or it's not like, you know, we're going to be in season 1, that's coming out like July, August, and you think it's like a genre that I enjoy, you guys know what I like, let me know down below and I will check it out. I've gotten a lot of requests about shows that have been on multiple seasons, or just shows from the past that have already ended. And I do appreciate that. I just don't have the time to devote, you know, that much backtracking and watching all those episodes and catching it up in order to, you know, be in real time and do videos for you guys. I'm just now like having more time. I've been very busy this year, but I'm just now at a point where I can take on a new show. Of course, I'm going to watch Mr. Mercedes when it comes back, The Sinner, and American Horror Story, How to Get Away with Murder. But I feel like there's going to be some downtime that I'll have time for an additional show because WestWorld ends next week. So just let me know. But I hope you guys are having a great week, and thank you again for all of your support, and I will see you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Kelly TV. I would love for you to subscribe and be a part of the Kelly TV family. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter so you can keep up with all I'm doing.